This is where incredible beef broth begins, with roasted bones. Roasting adds a deep, rich flavor you just can't get from simmering raw bones. So let me show you how I make this delicious beef broth. You're going to want to start with about 4 to 5 pounds of beef bones. Ask your butcher for marrows, knuckle bones, or even oxtail. They're packed with flavor. You're going to spread them out on a baking sheet, drizzle with just a little bit of oil. Remember, we're going to be pressure canning this, so we don't want too much oil in our broth. Season lightly with salt and pepper, and roast at around 400 to 425 for 30 to 40 minutes, flipping halfway until the bones are dark and golden brown. That deep caramelization is what builds amazing flavor in your broth. While your bones are roasting, you're going to prepare your vegetables. You want to start by washing all your vegetables really well. You don't have to be fussy. You don't have to peel your carrots. You don't have to remove the leaves from your celery. Just make sure to give everything a really great wash. And your onions, you don't even need to peel them if you don't want to. I did because I found that my peel was a little sad looking, a little tired. So I peeled my onions and my garlic. You just need to give everything a really rough chop. For these seasonings, I am adding peppercorns, fresh rosemary that I picked from my greenhouse especially for this occasion, cloves, bay leaves, salt and pepper to taste. Now remember to use your pickling salt because I am going to be pressure canning this beautiful broth so I can enjoy this all winter long. If you don't want a pressure can, if you don't have a pressure canner, you can also freeze this. It's another good way to preserve your broth. Once your bones are beautifully roasted and caramelized, you're going to put them in your pot, add your vegetables and your seasoning, and fill up your pot with water. So I am adding at least 16 cups of water, but I think I'm adding more. I've added 4 or 5 carrots, 6, 7 celery stalks, lots of garlic, lots of seasoning. You just got to try to do it to taste. You want to let this simmer for a minimum of 3 to 4 hours. The longer the better. You can go 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. The longer the better. The deeper, the richer the flavor it will develop. Once your broth is done, you're going to want to strain out all the solids, all the vegetables, all the bits and pieces out of your broth. You just want a nice, clear broth. Then you're going to put your broth in your fridge overnight to let all the fats solidify so you can scrape them off in the morning. Don't make the same mistake I made a few years ago when I took my huge pot of broth and stuck it in the fridge. The next morning when I got to it, not only had the fat not solidified, it was lukewarm. It wasn't even cold. I had to throw away the entire thing. I was so disappointed and so mad at myself because I knew better. The next day, when you pull out your broth, you're going to put it all back into your stock pot and heat it up. Remember, I am going to be pressure canning this, so I need to have a hot liquid to put into my hot jars. Once it's nice and hot, you're going to put it inside of your jars. I'm using 500 milliliter or pint-sized jars. I find I have a lot less waste when I use this size jars. So you're going to put the broth in your jars and you're going to leave 1-inch headspace. Once your jars are filled, you're going to clean the rim of your jars off with vinegar. Because this has a meat product in it, there's more oil. You need to really make sure your rims are nice and clean, so clean them off with vinegar to make sure you get a good seal. Then you're going to place your caps on your jars. Then you're going to place your rings on your jars, fingertip tight, and transfer everything over to your canner. Once your canner is full, you're going to put your cover on, bring this to a boil, vent your pot for 10 minutes. Once you've vented your pot for 10 minutes, you're going to put on your weighted gauge. I need to get to 11 pounds of pressure for the altitude that I live in. Make sure to check what your altitude is to see at what pressure you need to be canning. Once I reach my pressure, then that's when I start timing. For my pint-sized jars, I am going to time these for 20 minutes. If you're using quart-sized jars, 1-liter jars, you need to process your jars for 25 minutes. Once the processing time is over, you're going to turn off the heat. If your pot is too heavy, leave it where it is. If it's not too heavy, you can move it to a cooler part of your stove. You want to let it depressurize normally. Don't force it. Let it sit until it drops to 0 and the button drops. Once that happens, you can remove your weighted gauge. Once you remove your weighted gauge, you need to wait 10 minutes before you remove your cover. Once that 10 minutes is up, flip your cover away from your face when removing because there's still a lot of steam in there and you don't want to get burnt. But leave your jar sitting in your pot for another 5 to 10 minutes. Just let everything settle. And then you can safely remove them from your pot. Leave them on your countertop for 12 to 24 hours. Don't move them around. They need to settle. They need to seal. Once that 12 to 24 hours is up, you can remove the rings. Never store them with the rings on top. It can create a false seal. I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope you enjoy my content. If you do, don't be shy. Hit that subscribe button and be sure to check back again soon to see what other content I will have coming out.